you can adopt this spirit of the law, the spiritual culture of being a disciple of Christ and learning to do good, or you're either progressing or you're retrogressing. You're either going forward or backwards. Like there's no lukewarm. And I mean, this is very strong language. You like adopt the gospel and grow and progress, because if not, like that's the path. The opposite is the path to damnation. It's very strong language, but it just shows how progression, eternal progression, like that's the doctrine. Like that's what the gospel. That's what it is trying to get out of us.
Yeah. You know, and one of the things I think that's a shame is that in the church, we tend to, a lot of time, youth and people that grow up who feel like they're a little bit different, they tend to look at the rules, quote unquote, of the church. And to them, it feels very stifling, and they feel, I don't know if oppressed is the right word. I think probably some of them do, but they feel very much like they have no freedom and they're told what to do. And to be fair, I do think there are situations in certain places and or certain family units where maybe that is a little bit the case, you know, and there probably is some truth to that. However, the beautiful thing about the gospel in its purity, in its pure form, is that the Lord gives you a framework, meaning he gives you truth and light and knowledge that he knows works every time, meaning you play within this sandbox and you will always be okay. But that doesn't mean he dictates how we make decisions in every way. It doesn't mean that our freedom and that our ability to act and to use the unique talents and gifts and individual identity, who we are, to truly make our stamp, or to put our unique spin on a lot of things in the gospel. You know, it's imperative that we do have those unique perspectives in so much in the gospel, as long as it's within the Lord's framework. You know, and so there's actually a lot of freedom in the gospel that allows people with different perspectives and unique circumstances and varying viewpoints to come together and say, there's a lot of ways we can look at living and finding joy in the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we need all of those righteous perspectives, right? Because once you get outside the Lord's framework, now there's no guarantees, right? That's the whole Lehi's tree, you know, vision of the tree and the diverse paths and the great and spacious building. Like, once you let go of the rod or the Lord's framework, now there's no guarantee, and you can wander into some pretty gnarly paths if you're not careful, you know. And so within the Lord's framework, you're always safe. But I do think that we need to be more, we need to embrace the fact that there's going to be people who see things differently from us. And that's okay. There's always a bit of truth there that if we come together and reason together, that we can distill what's the fundamental truths, what's the foundation of each of these perspectives, and really gain a lot from being a body of Christ together, united in that purpose. Hit that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it.
They may seem like little things, but liking, commenting, it helps the algorithm push our content out to more people. So it's our small way of sharing the gospel in a social media age.